idea why. Coming through the kitchen here. Oh, say hi, Bernard. He never lets me talk. And then I see that. This is the third time I've come through, and this is exactly how I've seen them. 3 times now. I think I'm going to bed now.
Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ah! Guys, gua udah zoom. Kangen, gua udah zoom.
This, my friends, is the story behind Suicide Mouse. Suicide Mouse is a lost episode of Mickey Mouse. Mickey's just constantly walking down the street in a loop. The video lasts around 7 minutes, and then around the 8th minute, it gets very weird. It goes into some vintage print. And it shows something like this picture here of an evil mouse smiling, and the episode just cuts off. It's also said that after this episode, Mickey dies. Once you've watched the whole video, Suicide Mouse knows who you are. The only
videos on the internet, part 4. Today, let's talk about a video that will drive you insane if you watch it. The video is titled Marina Mordegard Glesgorf and was posted on YouTube back in 2008. The video is now associated with a famous creepypasta. The video starts off with some man just staring into the camera. Then out of nowhere, he starts laughing maniacally. Apparently, the entire video is 2 minutes long, but you should never watch the full thing. Legend goes that if you do, it will drive you insane. In fact, the entire video was apparently removed off of YouTube after 100 people took out their own eyeballs after watching the video. I don't care if that's just a legend or what, but you won't catch me watching this video. Like and follow for more videos like this.
This dog right here was staring off into the distance at something when all of a sudden he got pushed. Then the lights from right here in the hallway turned off. I'm gonna roll the clip and show you what happened right now.
Can't imagine the parents' horror as they watched their little boy being pulled out of the sand. At an East Coast beach, emergency services were called to the aid of an 11-year-old boy who was digging tunnels in the sand, and they'd collapsed. The family spent the day at the beach, and while there, their son dug these massive long tunnels in the sand. But for one tunnel he dug and he climbed in, it suddenly collapsed and the boy was gone. They quickly tried to dig him out, but it was hopeless, so they had to call the emergency services. See, the hole that he had dug was well over his head and travelled along the sand dunes. The boy under the sand for more than 35 minutes, all hope was gone. When they finally reached his body, he was dead. And in a weird twist of events, shock set in for the parents, because the little boy's body that the police pulled from the hole wasn't their son at all. It ended up being the missing body of a 12-year-old boy from Miami, and he'd been missing for more than 2 years. The family's 11-year-old son would later be found wandering about 2 kilometres from the scene, with no recollection that he was even digging tunnels in the sand that day.
So we're at Canada's Wonderland on Windseeker, and this shit just got stuck. We have kids crying. I've been up here for 30 minutes. Technical difficulties.
What's going on? Something spoke you. Cash.
Monsters from Every State, Part 2. If you scare easily, click off. Thank you to FernDog127 for the comment and for the follow. This one's for you, buddy. These monsters are called Tommyknockers, and they were believed to reside in Colorado's gold and silver mines. Miners in the Colorado mines said these monsters used to help them by alerting them to possible cave-ins by knocking twice on the walls. However, these warnings came at a price, and Tommy's knockers' price were their children, which they would eat and devour.
Now that you've seen this image, you're haunted. The only way to avoid that is by clicking the plus, dropping a like, and watching the whole video. Good luck, my friends. My friends is the Expressionless. Yes, that's the name. 1972, this woman showed up to a hospital wearing nothing but a white bloody gown. I know, hospital, bloody gown, things kinda match up, but it gets worse. Two distinct things about this woman that made people go frantic, scream, and even leave the hospital. Even doctors. First being that she wasn't exactly human. She was built like a mannequin. Not just a joke. Genuinely, she was practically a mannequin. She was not human. Was able to talk, walk, and communicate as a human, which freaked them out. She had a kid in between where her teeth should be that was spewing blood out, which was where the blood was coming from on the nightgown. Then took the kitten out of her mouth, threw it across the room, and collapsed on the floor. The hospital members tried to sedate her. She fought back, with the same blank expression on her face. It took 2 doctors to hold her down. Looked at one of the male doctors, turned her head while her face was still blank, and then smiled. Part 2 is absolutely insane, so click the plus, drop a like, and follow me for more.
Let's talk about Dollhouse graves, because there's more than one. This is the gravesite of Dorothy Marie Harvey, who was only 5 years old when she passed away. Her grave is located at Hope Hill Cemetery in Medina, Tennessee. Legend goes that sometimes when you look inside of the windows, you can see her looking back at you. This is the dollhouse grave of Vivian May Allison, who passed away in 1899. It's located in Connorsville City Cemetery in Connorsville, Indiana. Unfortunately, it became subject to vandalism. The city was able to restore it, and this is how it sits today. And then there's the dollhouse grave of little Nadine that passed away in 1933. She had asked for a dollhouse for Christmas that year, but passed away before she was ever able to get it. Her father was so distraught that he had her buried in it, and it's full of all of her favorite toys. If you visit the cemetery in Lynette, Alabama, you will also see that when her parents passed away, they were buried outside of it.
Wait until you hear the story behind this terrifying image. So a grandmother set up this motion-activated camera at her son's house when she kept hearing complaints because her 2-year-old granddaughter kept talking to somebody in the middle of the night. The very next night, she went to check the cameras to find this bone-chilling photo of somebody standing over her granddaughter. Now the figure appears to be standing awkwardly with its head tilted up, and the photo was taken just before 3 a.m. Now the grandma claims that it is a demon, and when she tried to rid the house of it, curtains started opening and music started playing by itself. Now she also claims that they were the only ones in the house and that the photo could not be fake because she doesn't know how to Photoshop stuff.
Imagine turning up to school and your teacher whispering something in your ear that would change your life forever. As a young girl by the name of Amy sits down in class, her teacher leans over and whispers something in her ear. Whatever was said makes Amy immediately jump up, grab her bag and run from the school. This would also later be confirmed by other students and teachers in the school. Throughout the day, the school would repeatedly call her home to try and talk to her parents, but never got a response. And it wouldn't be until the next morning when Amy didn't arrive at school that the school contacted police. But when police went to do a welfare check on the home, they had to quickly call for backup because shots were fired. Later discover Amy's father gagged and tied to a chair in the middle of the room with a rifle pointing right at his head. There was a thin piece of rope rigged to the rifle and to the front door. See, when police checked the door handle to see if the door was open, they discharged the firearm, killing the father instantly. What's weird is Amy was never found and still wanted for questioning. And her teacher swears he only said that day, "Your grades are getting so much better."
Did you know that in the spring of 1973, 2 young children were playing near the woods in the small town of Sandown, England, when all of a sudden, they heard a noise coming from within the woods. As they followed the sound, they eventually stumbled upon a humanoid creature that looked like this. The creature introduced itself as Sam and told the children that there are others just like him on Earth. The kids also noticed that Sam was speaking into a microphone and speaker-like contraption that they believed translated everything he said into English. The kids then asked Sam if he was human. He said he was. The kids then asked Sam if he was human. He said he was not. They then asked him if he was a ghost, and he responded with, "Well, not really, but I am, in an odd sort of way." As the children left Sam, they rushed to go tell any adult they could find. But by the time they returned to the spot in the woods, no trace of Sam was left whatsoever. The children, now adults, still to this day claim that their story is true and not a figment of their imagination. For more strange stories, check out Camp Strange Podcast.
So yes, that is the little girl. So if you read anything on demonology, you would know that demons present themselves in a way that is not normal. They sometimes seem a little bit off. Like the little girl right here. She looks like she's decaying, which is not normal. And a lot of times, too, we will see her without a head, which again, is not normal because she cannot fully manifest a form. Exhibit B. She does not have a head. Now, this was taken right before the one I just showed you. So that just, when I saw this photo, just gave me such unease about being in the house, because I'd have my suspicions and whatnot, but when I saw this, it just confirmed everything that I was feeling, and it's only gotten worse since then.